Joining us now, and Dale Jr. hasn't missed the chase since 2010. You said last week that he is balancing his life outside of a race car right now. So how does the possibility of missing the chase play into his decision about when to come back?
I think it weighs.
He has said that his symptoms have plateaued this past week and that his doctor is preaching patience. And from what we know so far, he has been listening to him. Ricky Craven with us this morning here on SportsCenter. With Matt Berry, I am Sara Walsh. The trade deadline is fast approaching, but the big deals apparently going down today already.
Yeah, we've seen two already today, especially if it involves the Yankees and the once vaunted bullpen of Betances, Miller, and Chapman. First on Monday, Aroldis Chapman gets dealt to the Cubs for Adam Warren and 3 minor leaguers. And now this morning, Andrew Miller on his way to Cleveland, leaving just Dylan Betances at the back. Why?
Because he's a running back, because he's at a position that the NFL has deemed to be disposable. If he were a defensive end, if he were a quarterback, even if he were a cornerback, I think he'd probably be playing right now.
Or if he were a greater running back like Adrian Peterson, if he were someone.
No, that's the idea of the show. We got
That's right.
But no, isn't that a sweeping indictment, though, of sports in general? If we're willing to sit here and admit, well, gee, if he was a better player or more important, well, it could overlook that video.
There's always this balancing act in sports, and I think as fans who watch this, who see, if you're a Cubs fan and you see Aroldis Chapman getting this opportunity, you know that it means it could bring the Cubs that much closer to breaking this awful streak that they've had, and you're constantly making these moral deals with yourselves as you're watching sports, and it's put everybody kind of in an awkward position.
You know, playing off what you were saying earlier about, you went this guy around the face of a heinous crime and a terrible issue, a big issue in our society. Well, you get it if you get a guy who comes back and says, "I'm guilty," and has done everything he can to try to demonstrate a sincere repentance, which I think he has. Although, you know, how do we judge sincerity? By actions, obviously, more than words. Well, one action is that he says he would donate his salary, if he were to get one, to a charity.
Well, Bob, is it fair to compare from the NFL to Major League Baseball to the NBA to the NHL to soccer? Is it fair to compare each sport and how each governing body in that sport handles it?
Well, NFL football training camp coverage continuing here on SportsCenter. In Houston, veterans reporting today. The headlines are about who hasn't reported. DeAndre Hopkins, he wants a new deal. In Seattle, though, the headlines, they are the opposite. They are about who is, in fact, there. A player who wants the old contract ripped up, but he made his way to camp. Yep, Michael Bennett, he is there. Last player to hit the... You know, in Foxborough, it is all Brady, all Garoppolo, all the time. Garoppolo for games 1 through 4, Brady for games 5 and on. 5 coming against Cleveland. And you can count Browns Pro Bowl tackle Joe Thomas among those who wish the New England quarterback answer wasn't so clear. Thomas accused Roger Goodell of witch hunts against players last year and said today, "I was disappointed that he," meaning Brady, "didn't keep appealing from a player's standpoint." Court fight behind Brady. The 21,781 in Foxborough today witnessed firsthand that whether it be July, December, or February, Brady's on-field fight level, it's high. Michelle Steele among them. Sometimes you don't even have to look. I mean, he doesn't have to look, and we don't really have to look either. There was jubilation. There was hope. There were free shoes to be had for a camp full of kids if Michael Jordan missed. 3 shots, 1 miss. Only needed 1. Odds, not in the kids' favor.
If this was anybody else literally in the world, their odds would be okay. Literally anybody else. The campers today, as well as an entire generation of NBA players long before these kids were probably born, learned the hard way. If it's this guy versus anybody, take this guy. He was at a camp today with CP3 and Derek Fisher, and the bet, as far as MJ goes, as Jade said, was easy. Just missed 3. He's 53 years old, right? It doesn't seem like that much of a stretch, and every kid wins a free pair.
They cheered, they rallied you on. Just give him the shoes anyway.
He is 53 years old. He took on a 31-year-old Chris Paul, an NBA All-Star, and a 41-year-old Derek Fisher, edge to the guy that's closer to the AARP than either one of them.
The guy with his eyes closed.
With his eyes closed.
In other words.